a lot to unpack. I've got France 24's Armen, Georgian here with me on set. Armen, I think the main headline we can both agree on is that you've got the 4 EU leaders now saying that they support immediate EU candidate status for Ukraine.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is really the top line here, and it's something that President Zelensky said he was very grateful for, that all of these EU leaders, including some of the founding members of what is now the European Union, said that they back immediate candidate status for Ukraine. President Macron gave a few more details on this. He said that he had to build consensus among the EU 27 because it has to be a unanimous decision. So all 27 member states have to agree to give Ukraine candidate status. So what he was saying in effect was that this is actually not a done deal because all EU member states have to sign off on this at the Brussels summit at the end of next week. He said that basically this EU candidate status for Ukraine would come with a roadmap, which is in a way a euphemism for saying there will be conditions attached to Ukraine actually starting membership talks. He didn't want to say conditions next to President Zelensky, but that is effectively what it is. And Olaf Scholz backed that up. I think he mentioned something about rule of law. There would be issues of rule of law that had to be addressed. So essentially, there are going to be conditions, but there will be some sort of roadmap to fulfilling those conditions that will be presented to Ukraine alongside its likely offer to become to get this candidate status at the end of next week.
Yeah, rule of law and requirements on democracy, to quote the German Chancellor. Armen, all 4 leaders have also emphasized the importance to respect Ukraine's territorial integrity. Well, you might say that's a given, but that implies a lot of other things too.
Well, it's not a given in the sense that President Macron's recent comments about the need to not humiliate Russia was interpreted as Ukraine needing to make territorial concessions to Russia as a way of not humiliating Russia. Those comments kept coming up, didn't they, in this press conference? Again, they dogged Macron for the whole of the last week. He was asked about this in Romania, in Moldova, and now in Kyiv itself. So he was pushing back a lot again on that, and sort of again clarifying that he didn't mean by that comment that there would have to be Ukrainian territorial concessions. But all of these European EU leaders present at this press conference, they all stressed that they were going to continue giving military support to Ukraine. There was some details on that, particularly from the German Chancellor about multiple rocket launcher systems, or MRLS, and also Iris, which I think is an air defense system that Germany pledged to provide as well at this press conference. So there was actually quite a lot of talk about continuing military support to Ukraine.
Yeah, the French president was also asked about whether he was going to be talking to Russian President Vladimir Putin in the next few days. He said that was not on the agenda, but he also, stressed the need to keep communication channels open with Moscow.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and he gave us an example of when communication might be needed with President Putin would be, for example, if there was a window of opportunity to open up grain exports. So anything that was related to alleviating the global food crisis, that is an area where President Macron said he would not rule out talks with President Putin, but he did say towards the end of that news conference that at the moment there were no plans to speak with President Putin. But I think he was at pains to stress throughout this marathon newser, as you put it, Wasim, he was really trying to stress that at no point had France taken over from Ukraine. It was never talking to Putin, as has been interpreted in some Eastern European or Baltic states, as France sort of acting behind Ukraine's back. That's been a kind of insinuation over the past, not just over the past week, but longer, because of course Macron has had quite long phone calls with Putin over the last few weeks and months. That he really pushed back on that idea that somehow France was doing something sort of questionable, dark, and murky without Ukraine's knowledge. Zelensky here confirmed that he was always kept informed of any upcoming phone call between Macron and Putin, and Macron himself kept emphasizing that it's always going to be up to Ukraine to decide if and when it wants to conduct another round of negotiations with Russia, but in no case was it France's role to kind of substitute itself for Ukraine in that format.
France 24's international affairs editor Armen, thank you very much for that.